Our next guest is someone you'll want to keep an eye on. Blake Abbie is an actor, journalist, and fashion connoisseur, but now he's taking a stab at a whole new world, one of the rich and famous. We're chatting with Blake about his new Netflix show, Bling Empire New York, and more. This is Advocate Now. Blake, congrats on the premiere of Bling Empire New York. You know, the franchise started off in LA. It's now made its way to the East Coast, and it's filled with so much fun, lots of drama. When you found out that you were going to be a part of the cast, did you have any preconceived notions about what it would entail?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly was a little shocked when I got the call from Netflix and JJP to say that they wanted me. You know, I come from a journalism background. I come from a pretty kind of let's say, academic kind of profession. It's fashion journalism, but I do approach my work with a little bit of intelligence, shall we say. And so, of course, there's a reticence about like doing a reality show. That said, I really enjoyed the first season of Bling LA, and I thought they brought really amazing cultural stories to a space that can sometimes be salacious, can sometimes be like dramatic and all, you know, and you know, there's always a little bit of fighting in between people. But I think what was really important for me was to be able to connect to a brand, like a story, a project that was talking about culture. And that's essentially what Bling is. But I always kind of stay away from the drama. I don't know. You've seen the show. I haven't seen the edit yet. So I think I'm pretty much, I stick to who I am in reality as who I am on camera. And I don't know, I'm an observer and I'm there to support my friends, but I generally try and stay away from the drama.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the cultural aspect of the show. Speaking of the LA version, Dorothy Wang appeared on that series and is now part of the New York cast. Did she help at all in terms of prepping you for the show, or maybe you helped her adjust to life in New York?
We definitely helped her adjust, and she's still adjusting. Last night after the premiere, she wasn't sure where we were in the city, actually. She was like, am I going uptown, up downtown? I'm like, literally, there are only two ways to go in New York, up or down. But yeah, I mean, Dorothy, because she had done Bling LA before and she had done other shows in the past, like she definitely already knew kind of the ins and outs of a reality show. And it was honestly, it was really great having her support. I had done scripted television before and film in the past, but this is a completely different experience.
She is negative, toxic.
What a waste of time this woman is.
I don't have competition.
I'm ready for the fight.
Sometimes I don't want to have to unleash, but like I will.
The show, of course, you know, highlights all the glitz and the glamour of the wealthy, but it, of course, also stars an all-Asian and Asian American cast. What does that mean to you to be a part of a show that's pretty groundbreaking in that way?
Yeah, I mean, it's really amazing. I mean, for me, I'm mixed. I'm half Chinese, half Scottish. I grew up in Vancouver, so I'm Canadian. And I think it's really important to be able to bring like different kinds of the Asian experience onto the screens. I really do think that I had a pretty idealistic childhood, idealistic upbringing, where both of my parents were really supportive of each other's cultures. And I don't think a lot of people necessarily have that kind of experience. And so to be able to share that it doesn't have to be a struggle, that it doesn't have to be kind of like ooh, am I one or the other? Am I more one or the other? You can kind of just be both. But also, you know, there's been a lot of hate against the Asian community in the last couple of years. And I think really to be able to talk about violence against the community, to be able to talk about actual things that are affecting the Asian community, I think that's what we were hoping to bring to New York, which may be a little bit different than the LA cast. We're just a little bit more real here, you know?
We're a little more real, authenticity.
Right, yeah.
I love it. And it's so important to have representation on screen. In a lot of ways, I think it gives us permission to express our true selves. Why would you say visibility is important to you?
I mean, I think you have to be able to see yourself in other people's shoes to be able to see where you can grow into and what kinds of dreams you can have. I think it's really important. A big thing for me with the show, and we kind of touch on my identity as a queer person, I was really clear with the producers that I didn't want my story to come across as a sob story, to have shame around it. I was, again, maybe it was idealistic, or I just happened to have really amazing parents and friends growing up, but I didn't come out. I didn't have any shame. And I just have grown up to be who I am, and I date whoever I want. And I think trying to tell that kind of story for queer people, especially when we're so inundated with like stories of shame, stories of questioning, that was really important for me. And I hope that hits home for some people.
Yeah, you do identify as fluid and queer. I know there are a lot of people at home watching Bling Empire who feel seen or even more confident in who they are as a result of you being on the show. Personally, has anyone provided that feeling for you?
Well, that's really generous of you to say. It's strange to be at the beginning of this journey and to be kind of put in that position of being, I don't know, someone to look up to. But honestly, growing up, I kind of always felt like a little bit of a misfit, not because of who I am, but because I was into fashion, I was into music, I went to music school, I studied singing, and it was really honestly my colleagues. When I moved to Paris and London and now here in New York, the fashion and creative communities, we're the misfits. We do whatever we want. We explore the world in the ways that we want to. We don't have traditional paths, traditional careers. None of us work 9 to 5. I mean, we all work, but not 9 to 5 jobs. And so having friends around me that kind of are exploring life in a different way, those are the people that really inspire me.
You're an editor at a fashion and culture magazine,
Yeah.
Also an actor. You mentioned that you're Chinese and Scottish. What has your experience been like as a mixed race person in this industry?
Well, in fashion, I think it's funny. I'm very much viewed as an Asian person in the fashion industry. I spend a lot of time in China when I can't get there. And so early on in my career, I would often be sat beside like the Asian press, even though I work for a publication that's Paris-based. And it's very much in those spaces that I actually initially felt kind of like a minority. I grew up on the West Coast. I grew up in Vancouver. And there are a lot of Asian people there. And I never really felt as an outsider. I always felt, I had a community. And then going to these fashion spaces, they're very white. And they don't necessarily make it always all that comfortable for non-white people. And so I think it's really important that we're there, and the Asian community within fashion, within cultural spaces and creative spaces are growing. And so, I just hope that Bling kind of aids with that presence and that representation.
Absolutely. This is Advocate Now, so we like to bring awareness to causes that we're passionate about, that other people are passionate about. Is there anything that you tend to advocate for or feel passionate about in that way?
Yeah, I think it could be a little ironic, but I am quite anti-capitalist in a lot of my values. I believe in land back for Indigenous rights. I believe in sustainability. I try and share these things through my stories. And maybe it may be a little bit strange for me to be on a show that is about wealth and lavish lifestyles. But what I hope to bring is that we can have these fabulous lifestyles, but we can also recognize that there are people that are suffering. There are people that need our support. And as people who have platforms, we should be able to help these people.
Definitely. You mentioned earlier, a little fun fact, that you have a musical background. You studied classical music in college?
Yeah, I studied classical singing, so opera. And I ended up in Paris because I was invited by a teacher that I met at a summer program. And so I moved to Paris right after college, and that's how I ended up in fashion. I mean, I didn't really plan on being in this industry at all. As I said, I loved it. I grew up watching television shows with my mom, but I kind of pinch myself because it's a really amazing and very privileged place to be. I think we have incredible experiences. I'm able to travel the world and see friends in Milan and Paris and Shanghai and New York and LA. This lifestyle is really amazing.
Will we see any of your musical talents sneak into the show? Maybe singing in the shower? I don't know.
Not in the shower. I mean, there is definitely a moment that I support one of the other cast members in her dreams in this season. I think this year I'm hoping to do more performances. And so if we get a second season, I'm hoping to, show you guys a little bit more of what I can do.
Well, we're definitely rooting for a second season. Everybody needs to catch Blake on Bling Empire New York. It's on Netflix now. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm Sonia Baghdadi. Thanks for watching and advocating. For more stories and content like this, visit advocatechannel.com.